Hello everybody, thanks for joining us on this video series on flipping the science classroom. Well, if you go out online and you search for flipping the classroom, you're going to see that there are a lot of resources out there about it. And so one of the things that we want to talk about in this particular video is how to make it happen. And one of the most common things that we hear in our science workshops is that there's just not enough time to get through all of the science material, let alone teach the students how to use the technology tools that are at their disposal. So what this training is going to be looking at is how to create video content or media resources for your students that they can actually be using outside of the classroom so they can come better prepared for your classroom. One of the easiest tools to do that is actually the tool you're watching right now, which is Screencast-O-Mat. Everything that I do in Screencast-O-Mat is recorded, my voice is recorded, my webcam, as well as everywhere that I click. So as I lead into the first real tool that I'm going to be sharing, which is Vocaroo, you'll notice that every time that I move my mouse, you see the highlighting following my cursor, as well as every time I click, you see a certain flash of the screen. So Screencast-O-Mat is a great way to start teaching students about how to use tools, like what I'm doing here with you right now, so that when they come back to class the next day, having watched your tutorial, they already know how to use the tool, and in many cases will probably know a little bit even more than you might about how to use it for whatever assignment you may give them. So one of the first tools that I'll share with you then is how do I make some podcasts for students so that they actually can listen to perhaps maybe audio recordings of problem hints. Maybe I'll give them some hints about a test that's coming up maybe the next day on things to study and vocabulary to be aware of. Vocaroo is a great tool to do this. And so when I click on the record button, it's going to simply ask me to use the camera and microphone, which I'm going to allow. And right now it's recording. So everything that I'm saying is being recorded by the web browser-based tool. As soon as I click stop, I can listen, which I'm going to allow. And right now it's recording. Okay, and you can see that it recorded exactly what I wanted. Now, if that's what I'm happy with, I can click here to save. And now, notice I can email the file. I can get a link right to it. Or even better, and this is a really neat, powerful part of this, is I can actually download this as an MP3 file. And if I have a student information system or a learning management system like Schoology or Canvas or Moodle, I could post that right on one of those web learning management tools, and my students can go and access those. Now, there's some software-based tools that do the same thing. Audacity is a sound recorder as well, and as you can see by the toolbar at the top, it's a pretty simple tool. I press the red button to record. As you can see, it's recording in waveform everything that I'm saying. I can press stop, and just like before, I press the red button to record. As you can hear, I can press play. And then it's just a matter of exporting that file as an MP3 or a WAV file or whatever it is that I'd be looking to use. So it's really nice to be able to create those audio files for your students so that they actually are able to hear perhaps the hints that you might have for homework or whatever preparation that you might be asking them to do for the next day. Now, another tool that you can use is, as many of us are starting to use Apple devices or iOS devices in the classroom, is the Reflector App. The Reflector App allows you to actually share the iPad right to your computer. Now, I want you to understand, Reflector App is actually an application for the computer. What's really great about it is that you can actually record within the Reflector App. So right now, I am sharing my Reflector application on my computer with my iPad. So you actually are seeing what's going on my iPad right now. Okay, and it's the exact same thing. So I'm going to use the Reflector app, and if I wanted to record in this way, instead of using Screencast-O-Mat, I could just record right with Reflector, as you can see here, but I'm recording with Screencast-O-Mat as part of this training video series. And so I'm actually going to show you the next tool through the Reflector app through Screencast-O-Mat. How about that? Say that a couple of times real fast. And the next tool is EduCreations. What EduCreations allows me to do is actually start a recording and solve out a problem or bring in perhaps some media that I might bring in. So I might have x plus 2 equals 3, and I'm talking through with students how to solve this problem. So now as I go through and solve the problem of x equals 1, I certainly hope I did that correctly, I now can take this, stop the video, okay, and actually send this out for students to actually view on their own. Okay, so EduCreations is a really great tool because not only does it record everything that I'm writing on the screen, but it also is recording the narration of my voice timed with how I'm writing it. And so now I can take this, I can change the paper background that I want to use, I can add an additional page, as you can see here, I can duplicate it, or I can go in and create another page from scratch. You can also notice here is that I can go in and add images or take pictures from the camera. What's really great about that is if I have a lab set up that I might want to take a picture of, I can mark that up and show students exactly what it is I want them to do. I can change my pen color here if I want to make sure that I emphasize certain points on the particular EduCreations app, and then obviously I can send this out to whatever format that I'd like as soon as I am finished. Now, some of the features that are a part of EduCreations are definitely pay for, but I can save this out and provide a link once I name it, making it public or private, and share that link out to students that all they have to go do is go to my EduCreations page, and they'll be able to see all the video contents that's there. So if you're overwhelmed by all of the resources that are available when you go and just Google flipping the classroom, consider starting with one of these. Screencast-O-Mat, which allows you to do a screen capture like I'm doing right now of everything that's going on my screen. Try to create a podcast using something like Vocaroo or Audacity. Or finally, if you have iPads in the classroom, try the Reflector App and see if it's a way for you to be able to capture what you're doing on your iPad so that you can train students on how to use the apps that you might be wanting them to use in your classroom long before they ever come into your classroom. So I hope this training series actually helped you in giving you some ideas of how you can flip science instruction by using students' home time to learn about the technology so that when they come to your classroom, they already are the tech experts and ready to learn the science and demonstrate that learning through the technology products they create.